Hello and welcome to our family workshop. Now in this video we are focusing our attention on the Hegner Multicut 2S. The scroll saw is an essential part of what we do, and our scroll saw of choice is the Hegner Multicut 2S. Again, we've emphasized this on some of our other videos. We do not have any association with Hegner, we just use their scroll saws. Now before I purchased the Hegner Multicut 2S, we did have other scroll saws prior to this. I'm not going to give names and things like this because I want to focus on this scroll saw. But they were more reasonably priced machines and more entry-level scroll saws. But they didn't last long in our workshop, and the reason for that, it was the quality of cut and finish that they produced. It just wasn't up to the standard that we required. So when we're looking at the Hegner Multicut 2S, that is ultimately what it comes down to for ourselves. It is the quality of finish and the quality of cut, and the key word is the precision of the cut that it gives us. That is the reason we have chosen to work with it for over 20 years. Now I know in that time there have been new designs have come along, new ideas, other companies have come in, but for ourselves, we've never even considered changing our scroll saw, because ultimately, if it's not broken, why would you want to fix it? Now on the subject of it being broken, in that 20-year period, we have had a few things that have gone wrong with our Hegner Multicut 2S. But it's worth noting, we are using it on a daily basis. We are a family workshop, and it is the most used machine in our workshop. So when it comes to these issues, which we'll go through, I would suggest that we have had more than good value from our scroll saw. So the main issue that we've had with both of our Hegner Multicut 2S scroll saws is the capacitor. On both machines, at different points, the capacitor has broken on the scroll saw. Now, whilst this is a frustration, an irritation, it was easily identified as the part that had broken. It was straightforward to contact Hegner themselves here in the UK. We identified the part on their list and they sent a replacement. We fixed a new capacitor and we're on our way again. Job done, and the scroll saw is working just the same as when it was new. The only other issue, I would in part put it down to user error. Basically, my fault forcing the scroll saw, and I broke a little piece that connects the motor to the bottom arm of the scroll saw. That fault was easily corrected. We identified the issue, we ordered a replacement part from Hegner, they sent it out, and the scroll saw continues to do the job really well. So what I'm basically trying to say to you, whilst we've had a few little issues, for 20 years worth of work and high quality finish from that scroll saw, it really pales into insignificance. And the other part, their customer care is fantastic. You've got a problem, you don't have to throw away your machine, identify what the part that you need replacing is, and they'll send you a replacement. Fix the problem and continue enjoying the investment that you've made. Now, some of you may look at a scroll saw like the Hegner Multicut 2S and think, wow, it's a big investment to make. It's a lot more expensive than some of the entry-level scroll saws. And that's a decision that you have to make personally. Now, I know for the amount of work that I've managed to get done using this scroll saw, I feel that I had fantastic value. If I compare it to other equipment that I've got here in the workshop, and things like equipment that I use for filming, it really does, again, pale into insignificance because it has paid us back time and time and time again. It's a fantastic machine to work with. It gives you so many options in terms of things to make, and it even gives you the option of cutting in different materials. Now, part of this, of course, these are my own views, my own experiences. I pair then my scroll saw with a Nikkwa number 9 reverse tooth blade. And that's the combination that I am using to do my scroll saw work. I am predominantly working in seasoned hardwoods. They are cut roughly around 1.5 centimeters thick up to about 2.5 centimeters thick. A maximum for those of you who are working in inches of around about 1 inch. And so for this type of material, I can't fault the Hegner scroll saw. Some of the features that you've got on it, you can tilt the table. So if you want to do different angled cuts, you can tilt that table, and then the collar that fits around the blades, that can be removed and turned on its side, so you're not damaging that collar as you are cutting. I know, again, some of the recent beds produced by Hegner, that is actually built into the bed itself. So depending on the model and depending on when you are purchasing your scroll saw, it might be slightly different to ours. When working with the scroll saw itself, it's an absolute joy. The engine, it purrs. We clamp the scroll saw to a base, then clamp the base to the floor. This is to reduce the vibration on the machine. It's straightforward to set up, and it's straightforward to use. You adjust the tension for the blade on the back of the machine, and then apply the tension using the lever that is just above the blade itself. There's a little guide to show you how the blades go in correctly. You have a little spanner as well for putting the blades in. And for those of you who do a lot of pierce work, you have the option of purchasing a quick release clamp. For any of you starting out, sometimes the vibration of any scroll saw can be challenging. You might find it physically difficult to perfect the action of holding the wood down with one hand and feeding it with the other. And again, there is an option to purchase a arm accessory that acts as a clamp, assisting you to hold the project down as you feed it through the scroll saw. The more modern version of the Multicut 2S has a purple hose for clearing the line. The earlier versions has a clear hose for clearing the line of view. Using a bellows on the back, it blows the dust to keep your line of sight clear. The purple, newer design I find more effective than the older design because it blows the dust away from you. I'm still working with the older design on our one scroll saw, and I always use the mask because it blows the dust into your face. But that newer design, they've changed it and improved the way the dust is removed. You've got a little attachment to the side, which again can be used to add a dust extractor, which when working with the scroll saw, because it produces that fine dust, this can be a useful addition. Another advantage that the Hegner Multicut 2S has over many scroll saws is that it uses pinless blades. There is a little bit of debate as to what is better, pin blades or pinless blades. My view on this is that pinless blades are superior because you can drill a finer hole, allowing you to do finer scroll saw cuts. The Hegner Multicut 2S, again, it will take a wide variety of different types of blades. it will take spiral blades, reverse tooth blades, standard blades, skip tooth blades. It takes all of the different types you can imagine, and from the different companies. Flying Dutchman blades, Olsen blades, Pegasus blades, Nikwa blades. A wide variety of options are available in terms of the blades that you use. The design of the Hegner Multicut 2S, I feel that it takes some beating. You have an arm at the bottom and an arm at the top. If a blade snaps, the tension comes off, you stop the machine, you replace the blades. Simple. It is made from high quality materials, and that allows it to cut precisely, accurately, and with a level of precision that might be matched but would be difficult to surpass. That is the key area. The quality of the cut that it produces, the quality of the finish that it produces, allows us the minimum amount of time hand finishing after the scroll saw has done its job. And that is ultimately for ourselves why we bought a Hegner Multicut 2S and have never looked at any other scroll saw, is because it does the job, and it does the job very effectively. You've also got the options of working in metal and other materials like plastic. So at different times when we have been doing other jobs in and around the workshop and in and around the house, and we need to cut a shape in a different material, the scroll saw is able to do it. On a number of occasions, it has managed to get us out of trouble. When it comes to summing up then, I think the key message to get across is, whilst the scroll saw is very effective at what it does, whilst it does the job that we want it to do, we also enjoy working with it. And I think that's a really important thing. The scroll sawing process when working with this scroll saw is just a joy. It makes our working life easier, but it also makes it an absolute pleasure. So if you're interested in scroll sawing and you're looking to get into scroll sawing, I can't recommend the Hegner Multicut 2S highly enough. Another area we get asked about is to do with variable speed. Now, if you're looking to get a Hegner Multicut 2S with variable speed, the first thing that I would note is that they are significantly more expensive. Both of our scroll saws are single speed. They do the job that we want them to do, and you get used to the tempo that the scroll saw cuts at. I personally don't see what benefit a variable speed would have for the work that I'm doing. But again, others would have different opinions, and for what you are doing, it may be worth considering. So there we go, those are my thoughts, and it may seem like this entire review is just a series of praise for the Hegner scroll saw. It's just my honest opinion on it. Are there any disadvantages? Possibly the price point. It's a more expensive machine to purchase than a lot of the entry-level ones, but I would suggest that in next to no time you would have made your money back if that is a consideration. The machine does the job with minimal fuss and minimal hassle, and that's what we wanted. So that's why we would recommend to you the Hegner Multicut 2S. It does the job you want it to do, and it does a really good job. But there we go. Let us know in the comment section. Have you got any questions? Do you want to know anything else? Are you using a different scroll saw? Let us know. We love hearing about what you're doing. We love hearing from other scroll sawers. It's fantastic to be able to share in the work you're doing and to be able to share what we're doing too. Thank you again for watching. If you're new here and you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you know when we upload another video. And as always, we'll be back again soon with more videos.